What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Beyond the Multiverse. Today I want to take a deep dive into a character discussion about one of the coolest characters from the prequel era of Star Wars, that being Darth Maul. Darth Maul didn't get much screen time during his debut in The Phantom Menace, but when he was on screen, he dominated the screen. Later on, he got much more love and attention from the writers of the animated series The Clone Wars and Rebels, which fleshed him out quite a bit. Quick heads up, this series is going to be different from the Character File series, which is about giving you quick facts about the characters that you might not have known. This series is going to be a discussion and deep analysis of the character. What are their motives? What personality traits do they have that motivate them to do certain things? What makes them make certain choices? Where do they go wrong? Where do they go right? So, if you don't know much about Maul and you haven't watched the animated series, then I would suggest going back to my latest video, which is a character file video about Maul, so you can have some of his background information that we're going to be using. Once you watch that, come back and join the discussion. Alright, so let's talk about what defines Maul. Maul is a character that is built on two different foundations. One is his self-proclaimed destiny for greatness and an unrivaled power in the galaxy. And number two is revenge. Since he was a young boy, Sidious always told him that together they would rule the galaxy as the most powerful duo ever. Maul believes that that is his destiny. He believes he was born to be that way. Everything he does is to get to that state of power. Everything he did with Sidious, everything with the Shadow Collective, Crimson Dawn, everything. That's why he was able to stay alive on Lothal Minor after losing to Obi-Wan. In his brain, there was no way he should have lost to a Jedi Knight. He's way too powerful for that, in his opinion. And his need for revenge was not only to get revenge on Kenobi, but also to clear his name and prove himself again that it was a fluke. Unfortunately for Maul, his desire to have the ultimate power never comes to fruition. He is always coming up short. He never really hits the mark of being a long-lasting, feared power in the galaxy. After he was defeated by Obi-Wan, Sidious just cast him aside. He was forgotten about. Sidious did not care that Maul had lost. He didn't care that he was dead. He did not care at all. Later on, he built the Shadow Collective, which it gained some power, but in the end, what happened? He lost again. Once it started gaining traction, Sidious came to Mandalore and showed him who's boss again. He put him in his place. He reminded him that Sidious is still the top of the food chain. In the final episodes of Clone Wars, Maul is the king of Mandalore, and Ahsoka comes in and defeats him and captures him. He's lost his position on Mandalore, and he lost the Shadow Collective as well. Many years later, he goes to Tatooine to finally exact his revenge on Obi-Wan, and what happens? He loses in 3 moves. A character I've always compared Maul to is Loki. Loki is the same way, and where Loki is, he's looking for that glorious purpose. He wants to find his destiny, and he never gets there. Another thing that motivates Maul and is a primary characteristic of him is his rage. Now, why was he so angry all the time? Well, it's because from a young age, Sidious taught him to hate Jedi. He despised everything about Jedi. Then, after he lost to Obi-Wan and regained his consciousness on Dathomir, he realizes that the galaxy has moved on without him. Sidious has moved on without him, and he was cast aside by the Sith. Now let's talk about how Maul uses his rage in his fighting style. Maul uses the 7th and final fighting form called Juyo. Juyo is the most aggressive and ferocious fighting style. It's very unpredictable, fast, and violent. In episode 1, when the ray shields are closed and he has to wait for Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, we see him pacing. He can't wait to sink his teeth into Qui-Gon. Now what does Qui-Gon do? Qui-Gon sits down on his knees and he meditates. He's listening to the Force. He's letting the Force flow through him. Maul is letting rage flow through him. Maul seeps in aggression. After defeating Qui-Gon and supposedly winning the fight, what does he do? He boasts his own ego. He's scraping the floor with his lightsaber as Obi-Wan's holding on in the chasm. He's taunting him because he just took on 2 Jedi Knights in one. He's proven to himself, to his master, and to the whole galaxy how much of a cunning warrior he is. He relishes in that moment, and it's ultimately his demise. In Rebels, with his final duel with Obi-Wan, we see that his stance is yet again filled with rage. At first, Obi-Wan matches his aggression as Maul has threatened the safety of Luke. Obi-Wan then regains his emotion and then resets to a calm and patient stance. Again, trying to boost his own ego, Maul tries to use the same move he used against Qui-Gon on Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan quickly counters and goes in for the kill. Now this whole fight scene from the first move to the final blow is about 2.5 seconds long. It's 3 moves. And I think that's just a perfect example of Maul's entire life. There's this whole build up to an epic duel. He's gonna finally get the revenge he's been waiting for his whole life since losing to Obi-Wan. and it's over like that. He loses just like that. This is why the duel is so beautiful and indicative of Maul's entire life. People online will say how it was too short, obviously, and that it could have been so much cooler, but it's the greatest example of Maul's entire life and his failure to attain the power that he's always wanted, the recognition he's wanted. Something else about Maul is that he doesn't have a side. He doesn't choose a side. He hates both sides, actually. After losing the duel, he asks Obi-Wan if Luke is the chosen one, which Obi-Wan replies to yes. Maul then draws his final breath, saying that Luke will avenge us all. This shows how much Maul hates the Sith just as much as Jedi. The Sith are the people that cast him aside, never really cared about him, and ultimately, in his eyes, denied him his destiny. Maul died comforted by the fact that the Sith would finally be struck against. And you're left feeling sorry for Maul because he never got to win. He never got the power and the destiny and the recognition that he wanted. Never throughout his whole life. It was promised to him by the Sith and he never got it. And that is Maul. That is his whole character arc. He can try and build crime organizations and go find revenge and duel anybody, and he will lose every time. As soon as he gains traction, he's going to be put back in his place. That wraps up this character analysis, guys. I hope you enjoyed, I hope you learned something, and join the discussion in the comments. Let me know what you think. Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness comes out tonight, actually, so I'll be watching in the coming days for my thoughts on it. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.